Well, hi, all you people out there. Welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I'm the host of this show dedicated to progressive rock, hard rock, heavy metal, and other forms of rock music. Today is Wednesday Night Favorites, and today we're going to continue with a theme I started on Monday, which is Triumph. Now, I did Triumph's Rock and Roll Machine Monday, so today we're going to do the top 10 favorite songs by Triumph. Um, I always thought I had done this one, but apparently I hadn't. I went back and checked and I didn't see anything by them. So if I did, then I missed it again. But, anyways, we're going to do it. Um, and as many of you know, these are just my personal favorites. They do not represent the best Triumph songs of all time or the best this or the best that. They're just my favorites. And, of course, they're my favorites for right now, because some of these songs weren't my favorites 10 years ago, and some of them won't be my favorites in even a few years from now, because I intend to buy some more of their stuff. I had about 4 or 5 of their albums as a kid. I had Rock and Roll Machine, Just a Game, Progressions of Power, Allied Forces, and I think those were the 4 I had. And then I had a couple where I had listened to them on the radio and stuff, but I hadn't gotten them. I never got the first album, and I'm not really sure why. It just never materialized in the bin or anything, so I didn't see it. So, anyways, we're going to do the top 10, and I'm going to do it the way I always do it. Number 10, work myself backwards to number 1, or frontwards if you prefer to look at it that way. Basically, there isn't really there's not bad songs in the top 10 here. There's just some that I like better, and, personally, Just a Game is by far my favorite album, so it's going to be dominating here. And then I put in some honorable mentions from songs that I like, but just didn't have quite enough to get up there today. Okay, so number 10 comes from Rock and Roll Machine, and that's Bring It On Home. I think this is the best track on the album. It's the one with the longest oomph for me. Some of the other tracks I liked better maybe initially, like Rocky Mountain Way. I liked that a lot when it first came out, and then I found out it was by Joe Walsh, but I still liked it quite a bit. Takes Time, I liked that a lot at the beginning. Blinding Light Show, I liked that a lot at the beginning as well. I even liked Rock and Roll Machine. It's a song that's faded for me, and I just don't care to hear it anymore. But anyways, so Bring It On Home was the one song on here I liked a lot. It's a good version of the song, maybe as good as Zeppelin's version of their song. Okay, number 9 comes from Just a Game, and it's the lowest appearing here in number 9 spot. Suitcase Blues, but it's been higher. I went through my blues phase back in the early 80s, and this song was right up there along with a lot of other bluesy stuff. Mid 80s, sorry. I think I said early, but I think I meant to say mid. So anyway, Suitcase Blues from Just a Game. The next song up is also from Just a Game. It's a big hit on the radio. It's maybe one of their 2 or 3 biggest well-known songs. Lay It on the Line. Triumph is one of those bands too that's kind of a mix here. There's some from the radio and some not from the radio. But anyways, I like this song quite a bit. I think it's probably one of the best vocal performances by Rick Emmett. And it also, of course, comes from Just a Game. Number 7, I Live for the Weekend. I love the crashing, pounding heaviness of this song. It comes from Progressions of Power. Very good, solid song. I like quite a bit. Pretty heavy stuff. I haven't listened to this album for a long time because I had this, Allied Forces, Just a Game, and Rock and Roll Machine all as vinyl. I didn't have them as CDs, so I have a few of them now, but I'm still working to recollect them all. Number 6 from Allied Forces, Ordinary Man. I really like the kind of vocal kind of harmonies here and the build up to it. It's kind of a sad song in some ways. Kind of reminds me, for some reason, and it doesn't make any sense, of Even in the Quietest Moments from Supertramp. But I kind of like it a lot. Number 5, Young Enough to Cry. Very bluesy. Great tune. Just one of those real heavy bluesy songs. And there's a lot of this kind of stuff on Just a Game. At one time, this was my favorite song, but just about every track on this album has been number 1 at one point or another for me, at least on the album. So Young Enough to Cry from Just a Game, coming in at number 5. Number 4 from Progressions of Power again, but this one is more like Ordinary Man, Nature Child. I live my life like I wanna live. I got no reasons that I have to give. Just love the vocal part of this album. And both guys here can sing, man. They're just so good. Especially like Rik Emmett has that high kind of rocky sound, where I think Gil Moore has a more of a bluesy kind of sound to his voice. But I like them both just about the same. So Nature Child from Progressions of Power comes in at number 4. Number 3 from Allied Forces. Actually, always confuse these two albums. Sometimes I get the tracks mixed up, but not in this case. Fight the Good Fight. Just really solid song. Just, you can't say enough about it. I love the guitar parts. It's heavy. It's got like an amazing guitar solo in the middle. I think Rik Emmett is probably underrated as a guitar player. For rock music, he's very good. And he can play the acoustic stuff pretty good too. And he has the whole rock image going, the long blonde flowing hair, or at least he had it at one time. And the jumpsuits and the jumping around stage and the double neck guitar. The guy just had the whole ball of wax, Number 2 is a song that gradually creeped its way up to this spot. At one time, it was about 4th or 5th on the album, and just over time, I liked it more and more. I liked Gil Moore's voice on it. I just liked the way the story it told, and just the heaviness of it, and the guitar solo in it, everything. And it just slowly has creeped up to become number 2, and it's moving on from Just a Game. Number 1 song has been number 1 since probably early on. It went through this song I like better, that song I like better, and then eventually this one settled in at the number 1 spot and ended up, and it's been there for a long time. Just a Game from Just a Game. It encapsulates the entire album. I think it's very progressive. It's got some great vocals, got some haunting guitar sounds to it. Just everything about the song I love. I was reading a couple of Barbarian books at the time. I think one was a Conan, the other one was a Brock the Barbarian. And for some reason, every time I hear this album or this song, I flash back to When the Idols Walk by Brock. That makes no sense. It was a cheap novel, but for some reason it has an impact for me. So there you have it, my top 10 favorite Triumph songs, and some honorable mentions. So I'm going to do a little different than I normally do. I'm going to just give the honorable mentions and then redo these songs again. So some of the honorable mentions include It Takes Time from Rock and Roll Machine. Then it has, from the first album, it's Blinding Light Show. Great song. I seen that in concert. That's the only reason I know this song. It's just, they do such a great job with it in the live concert. I Can Survive, Progressions of Power. Never Surrender from the same album. Follow Your Heart from Thunder 7. It's the only song on that album I kind of know a bit, and I liked it a lot. I don't know why I never got that album. I think it was because it was the beginning or close to the beginning of CDs, and I knew I was moving or something like that, and I didn't want to add any more vinyl to my collection that I knew I was giving away, so I ended up passing on it. and I never have gotten it, but I'll look for it. It's a pretty solid album. Thunder 7, Follow Your Heart. And then I added Hold On at the last minute. It's a great radio stable, overplayed. I don't really care if I hear it too much anymore, but I recognize that it's one of their premium #1 songs from Just a Game. So there you have that. And now I'm just going to redo the top 10 again. So we have Just a Game from the same album, Just a Game. Moving On from Just a Game. Fight the Good Fight from Allied Forces. Coming in at number 4 is Nature Child from Progressions of Power. Number 5 is Young Enough to Cry from Just a Game. Number 6 is Ordinary Man from Allied Forces. Number 7 is I Live for the Weekend from Progressions of Power. Number 8 is Lay It on the Line from Just a Game. Number 9 is also from Just a Game, Suitcase Blues. Number 10, Bring It On Home from Rock and Roll Machine. And then you've heard all the honorable mentions. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. I like Triumph. They're not one of my favorite bands anymore, but when I was growing up, they definitely were in the top 5 and just faded over time. I think, when you go through about a 40-year period where you don't really listen to the music by a certain group, they have a tendency to get bypassed a bit, and that's probably what's happened to them. They're still in my top 40 or 50 bands. They're just not where they once were, and they might rise again, but I've kind of changed. My taste for music has changed a lot since those days, and I don't think they have the kind of music that would bring me back to that level. But I still enjoy the stuff that I enjoy by them quite a bit. So anyways, there you go. I hope you like and subscribe to this video, and let me know what your favorite Triumph songs are. We all have different views, and curious as to what other people see. I know some people have not always a lot of people don't like the Just a Game album. They see it as being a bit different from the rest of the Triumph, and maybe that's the reason why I like it so much. I'm not sure. Anyways, you have a great evening. From Prog Monster, goodbye.